And it's true. I had some injuries that cost us probably a lot of games because I wasn't out there. We got a book written about us. The team, the worst team that money could buy.
Can I stop you 1 second? Were you there when I got into a fight in the clubhouse that day?
Did you?
Oh, yeah, I did.
You were
With
sticking up for
Bobby,
us, Jay.
but when Bobby Bo went to Clappish, and he said, "I want to show you the Bronx my way," and they started to swinging each other. And Bobby Bo, don't you know? That's why I
Yes.
have no hair, Brent. But why would
Yes, you have many reasons that that hair has gone away. Because I know, especially while I was there, there was a lot of off the field distractions going on. So
Jay Horwitz special edition of Amazing Conversations with Bret Saberhagen and his wife Candace. Uh, Brett pitched with us for 4 years, Brett, in the early '90s before coming to Kansas City. You know what I remember most about the 4 years, Brett? You introduced me to Darius Rucker. Oh, I became a Hootie the Blowfish fan because of Brett Saber. Do you remember that? They were
I
friends of yours. We got
I
tickets
do.
to a game, and
Yes.
we sell Darius Rucker shirts now at City Field. Just so you know.
Do you really?
Yeah,
I'm
we
sure
do.
he loves that. You know where I first met Darius Jay was, we were out at the venue in Long Island on the South Shore. I forget what it's called, but we were out there and we had backstage access and stuff. And I was on the side of the stage when he came off when he finished up a set, and he walked by me. And he goes, "Bret Saberhagen," and I go, "Yeah, Darius Rucker." And so he says, "Don't go anywhere." So when they finished up their encore, he came back over and we hung out and became friends with everybody from Sonny to Mark Bryan, who I still see Mark quite a bit here and there, and Dean and the boys. They came in and visited us in the clubhouse like a lot of guys used to.
I only want to be with you, right?
I only want to be with you, but I think they only wanted to be with the Mets.
Yeah, it was
Yes,
good.
so
Hey,
it was being in the spotlight a little bit like they are, you get a chance to meet some really amazing people, and doors open up quite a bit for you. So I was very fortunate to play the game and enjoy that.
Brett, you had a great career with Kansas City with the Mets, but I think what you're doing now, you and your wife Candace, Bret Swings, trying to help out families restricted with cancer. Probably, maybe overshadows a lot of stuff you've done. That's my opinion. Before we get to that, your career with the Mets, unfortunately, a lot of nagging injuries, a knee, an elbow, and a finger. It kind of never, I mean, you had one great year in the, but what do you remember most about your 4 years with the Mets?
Well, I really grew up there, Jay, as a baseball player and an individual because in Kansas City you only have one newspaper, and so they're not fighting for the headlines.
Right.
And I learned that when I came over there how to not necessarily um, control the media, but I knew how to talk to them without getting anybody else in trouble. I'll give you, for instance, Jeff Kent makes an error in the seventh inning. It's a 2-1 game. 2 runs end up scoring that inning. After the game, they said, "Wow, you pitched a great game, but Jeff Kent made that error and cost you the game." Instead of answering that question, yeah, shit, I wish he would have made that play. Should have made that play. And then they go over to Jeff, and Jeff says, "Hey, well, Saberhagen just said this." Instead, I say, you know what? That guy should have never got on base, and he should have never actually. I made a mistake with that pitch. So you throw the blame on yourself. You don't throw your teammates under the bus. But we had an amazing team. Jeff Torborg comes over as the manager. Bobby Bonilla comes over. Eddie Murray comes over. Myself, let alone with Willie Randolph and a few others. And it's true. I had some injuries that cost us probably a lot of games because I wasn't out there. We got a book written about us. The team, the worst team that money could buy.
Can I stop you 1 second? Were you there when I got into a fight in the clubhouse that day?
Did you?
Oh, yeah, I did.
You were
With
sticking up for
Bobby,
us, yeah.
when Bobby Bo went to Clappish, and he said, "I want to show you the Bronx my way," and they started to swinging each other, and this pudgy little Jew got in the middle of the two of them. Bobby Bo, don't you know? That's why I
Yes.
have no hair, Brent. But why would?
Yes, you have many reasons that that hair has gone away. Because I know,
Yeah,
especially while I was there, there was a lot
Well,
of off the field distractions
yeah,
going on. So
but I went 94 is a great year. 14-4, 13 walks in 177 plus innings. A strike year. An all-star that year. Won 7 games in a row. But if it wasn't a strike year, it would have been even better. That year we ended in August, but just a tremendous year.
thanks, Jay. Yeah, that was the one year that I kind of put things together. Yeah, unfortunately, it was a strike year. But it was funny. The late Mel Stoudemire was our pitching coach, and by the All-Star game, that stat is still one of my favorite stats that I've ever achieved. Is more wins than walks in
More win
1990.
than we have. 14 wins, 13 walks. That's
Yes,
great.
and so that was really cool. But at the All-Star game, Mel Stoudemire came to me and said, "Hey, you are really close. You're about to do something that nobody's done since the early 1900s. I want you to focus on not walking anybody else." And again, back in those days when you had the pitcher hitting for themselves, at times you would pitch around that eighth place
Right.
hitter to get to the pitcher or intentionally walk the eighth place hitter. Mel came to me at the All-Star break and said, "You're not walking anybody else this year. You're not pitching around anybody. You're going to go for this record." And sure enough, we achieved it by the time the year was over.
Yeah, it's great. Hey, Candace, tell me how SabeSwings came into fruition. I know you're a three-time breast cancer survivor, and how did you guys come up with this great idea for foundation?
Oh gosh, thanks for asking, Jay. So in 2020, I was going through the heap of my third round of treatment, really my fourth. And we had a lot of time to sit and think. It was COVID. So I wasn't in any care facility. I was at home being treated. And in that time of thinking, I kept worrying about our own finances, thinking how we were going to pay for the next month, even though I knew that we would be able to cover it. And it kind of led me down a road where I did some deep research into how funding is actually allocated. And a lot of funding goes into research, which is valued, and we love that. But very minute amounts of funding actually goes to the patient who is struggling. And the magnitude of stress on a cancer diagnosis exasperates the entire situation. So I wanted to really come to the table and ask Bret if we could change his former foundation, the Bret Saberhagen Make-A-Wish Foundation, to
Save
Save
swings.
Swings and help or lift. Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the name came about because the nickname saves what I had, growing up and through baseball and that, but also the wings come in where there was one time where Candace was in the shower, crying on the bottom of the shower, sitting there with a handful of hair and basically saying, "Can you take this hair?" And in tears, and I actually had to lift her up. So the wings come from lifting recipients up, and it's been amazing. We started it in 2021. We did our first event in September that year, but basically we help out any families that are going through cancer diagnosis that can't afford their bills, and we come in and alleviate a portion of their debt or all of their debt, trying to get them back on
Right.
the
How do
right
you, how
path.
you can, Candace, how do you find the families? I mean, so many families, so much cancer in the world. How would people reach out to you to make them available of your service, what you can do?
Sure. We have a website, sabeswings.org. And if you go there, there's an application process that you need to complete. It goes to our executive director, and she actually evaluates the application, and then she does a deep dive into what they need. The importance that a lot of people need to understand is that we're not just going to give a check right to the patient. We actually pay toward the bill so that we don't feel like we're being in jeopardy of being taken advantage of. So we ask for the bills, we verify that they are active and that the balance is accurate, and then we pay directly to the bill.
Yeah, Jay, just real quickly, we've seen a lot of families that are skipping treatments because they can't afford them. They're not paying their mortgage. Well, there was a car repossessed in one particular situation with two young kids and they were both in diapers and one going through the treatment, a single mom. We had to get the car back and we paid off the car so it wouldn't be repossessed again. So it's been an amazing journey. And again, we love what we're doing. We feel very blessed to be able to help so many people out and so many families out. And it's just starting to take off after this is going to be our fifth annual event coming up. But yeah, it's word of mouth. It's a website. It's us getting our name out there. Stuff like this podcast with you, Jay. People hearing about us and telling other friends that, hey, I heard about this nonprofit that helps families out. So it's really just getting our name out there even more.
That, and we want to be a little bit more studious about it. We've started to partner with different hospitals who have streamlined social workers who can actually verify their patients' needs for us. So it takes a lot of the brunt of the work off of our plates, and then we're able to really assess the needs collectively so that the patient has the best outcomes.
But you guys helped out one of our old former players, Ron Hunt, and
Mhm.
how did that uh, come about? Did you call me or I called you or
Well,
Ron was our
yeah.
first Met All Star in 1963. Family going through a lot of woes. I don't think one of it was cancer, right? But you were able to help him with some dental bills, if I remember correctly.
Well, I recall this all coming down was because of you, Jay. Actually, you put out an email to all the alumni,
Right, yeah,
um,
we did, yeah.
letting everybody know about the situation. There was a GoFundMe, so on and so forth. So I reached out to you immediately and said, "Hey, listen, I know that at that time the players didn't earn as much wages." In his situation, yeah, he wasn't able to afford his medical treatments, and when he was getting some medical treatments, he saw good positive things coming about. So we reached out and worked with Tracy, his daughter, and she put through a lot of the bills and stuff that needed to be taken care of. And he went and got some treatment down in Florida. And so we helped him out as much as we possibly could to get him on his feet and get some treatments and get him with the right people to keep him progressing. And we just recently helped another former Royal who actually passed away with some medical bills that were stacking up and things. So back in the early days before I played, the money, the retirement, all of that wasn't as great as it is now. So we've been fortunate to help, and I feel really great about it, especially because it's what I used to do playing professional baseball, helping out some old timers. And I'm an old timer now, but there's some really old timers, Jay, that didn't make quite as much money and didn't have the pension and stuff to help them get by. So it's yeah, old timer, right? So it feels I have a really soft spot in my heart that we're able to help some former guys out, which has been beautiful.
Brett, Kent, how many families do you think you take care of every year, if you had to guess? I mean,
I know off the top of my head, we've helped individuals in 19 different states, and we're approaching families collective. We're in the thousands. Individuals, it varies, but keep in mind we're really helping, the family unit, the nuclear family of four. So if it's a child who's diagnosed, we collect the entire demographic of that family. So all four of them would have been benefited from what SabeSwings had done for them.
you, what you do is kind of special for me. Brett, I don't know if you remember the young lady. She was an intern in 1994, younger than Shannon Ford. She worked in my department for 2 years, making a long story short, passed away 44 years old, breast cancer, two young kids. And I started to cry when I think of her, so forgive me. But I mean, anything you do to help these families, I mean, I saw what she went through, trying to work, she worked right up until, and metastasized went through her body. But I mean, any help you give these families is a great thing you guys are doing. And tell me about the fundraiser which you have, and where does it, different athletes come to that? Who comes to that, Brett?
We have a few different athletes. Chili Davis, actually, the hitting coach that was there for a little while. He's a
Chili.
big supporter of ours. Mike Timlin. We have Sean Barry. We have Jeff Fasaro, just to name a few. We've gotten Ted Lilly out here as well. He's a local guy now. So we get support from Tully Kennedy, who is the bass player for Jason Aldean. So that's the event in Kansas City, but or I'm sorry, in Paso
Robles.
Robles, kind of where we started our yearly
Yeah, we're on our fifth
fifth year.
annual gala. It happens every October here in Paso Robles, but we do intimate dinners throughout the country where we fundraise equally. And we'll bring in what we call our celebrity advisory board, which Mike Timlin and Chili Davis do sit on that. And then you get to have an intimate dinner with what I would consider is the trifecta. So the three baseball players at the table. Sometimes we bring in a couple of different, like the bass player from Jason Aldean or Colt Ford or somebody who would really has really been special to us in the past. And then we get to fundraise on a more intimate level.
But we've been trying to do a lot more residual income, Jay, because just the events doesn't get us through. In November alone, we had $97,000 worth of ask from families, and then the next month was over $70,000 worth of ask. So we're trying to reach out to companies, do a donor match. We're trying to do as many things as possible. We have a campaign that that Kandace actually started. It's 1985 for $19.85 a month, and you do it monthly. A year's time would help alleviate one of our recipients' electrical bills for the month. So in the 1985 comes in for the first Cy Young World Series MVP year. It's going to be our 40th reunion coming up this year. And then it'll be your 40th for the Mets in '86 coming up the following year. But that's where that 1985. So for $19.85, you can go to SabeSwings.org and be a part of what we're doing for a minimal cost each month. So if anybody's out there and wanting to go and help us on something that they could possibly do, it's pretty simple. It's less than a pizza nowadays a month.
Yeah,
But how do you balance your career, what you've accomplished, what you 2 Cy Youngs, a World Series MVP, 2 20-game seasons, no hitter. I mean, how much satisfaction you get at doing this with your career? I mean, it's a different kind of satisfaction, enjoyment. Enjoyment's probably not the right word. I mean, but your feelings of accomplishment, what you and your wife are doing with this foundation.
Yeah, that's a great and well put. So the way I look at it, Jay, is I was put on this planet to do something, and it was more than baseball. Baseball was great. It opened a lot of doors for us. Starting up our nonprofit, I think we've gotten to where we are because of the nonprofit and with my name affiliated being with it. But this is the brains behind everything that happens, and we're co-founders with this. And so baseball was actually a beautiful platform for me to introduce what is really important. And I feel what I was put on this planet to do, and this is to help so many families around the country going through medical financial toxicity. So I thank God every day for the ability to have played baseball, but this is our passion, and there's not too many days that don't go by that we don't cry over somebody that we have helped, because it's near and dear to them. I mean, we get people that are crying because we just got them a couple of pairs of pants, and they've lost weight and they needed some pants. So it's amazing how I shouldn't say little, but how you can touch each person in a little way to make their life a little bit better.
So the daily thing, how would the request come through the the website? Like, I know typically, how would you get a request? How would it get to you guys?
Yeah, so if it gets to, well, it usually goes to our director, but just sabeswings.org and look at the application link. It's all online. That's the hard part. So a lot of people need to be well schooled with, I guess, the digital world nowadays.
Kind of like me, getting help.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
So
yeah,
you
not me
walk
either,
through.
Dave.
You and me, Jay, right? Hey, can you help
No,
me
I hear
get?
you, brother.
Yeah, can you dial this phone number for me? This
Yeah.
smartphone is too smart.
No, still have a clip phone.
There you see. Yes,
He needs one.
I love you, Jay. But yeah, that's kind of how the thing is finding us, and then the process might be a little scary, but I promise you, it's well worth going through the process. We've got to vet each and every person that comes through there, talk with the doctors to make sure that their diagnosis is a diagnosis. Unfortunately, in this world nowadays, you have a lot of people out there that want to scam and want to try to get money as any way, shape, or they can. So we've got to do our due diligence and get our processes done to help those individuals.
Yeah, but look at you mentioned you had some injuries in your career, but still, we're 29 and 21, 3.1 ERA, and if your career, 50 games over 500, it's not bad.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's it's pretty good career though. I mean, like I said, I think what you guys are doing great career, and just keep going on to help people around the country. It's got to be a great feeling for you guys.
Yeah, and talking about the Mets and that, it's always great to see them kind of prosper from time to time. I know that nobody's going to be on top of the world all the time. But still pull for the Mets. Still feel like that was a really place that I learned to kind of mature a little bit as a baseball player. And my biggest regret is really not getting to postseason with those guys and those teams that we had. It's very unfortunate because I felt like we had the talent, but always it doesn't matter how much talent you have. It matters how you go out and play the game.
Yeah.
And again, like we've talked about, I think a lot of the injuries helped keep me off the field and not putting wins up on the scoreboard for the Mets. So I can kind of look in the mirror and go, wow, I didn't do enough, but I feel
Well,
blessed to have learned and been a part of those teams.
1985, that's also 40 years for Dwight Gooden's Cy Young Award, that year too. So,
Yeah.
you can't believe. I remember Dwight, he was like 18, 19 years old. Now he's 60 plus years old. So, but Candace, let me ask you, how are you feeling now, Candace?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I just had scans 3 months ago for my 4 year, and I'm going into the 5th year. So we're hoping to really have some good luck with
Yeah.
all of that.
It's
These interviews are interesting because I didn't actually know Brett was a baseball player. So when I get to hear all of this, I really hear about Kansas City a lot, but I don't hear about the Mets or the Red Sox or the
Yeah.
Rockies as much. So it's really fun to for
We
the
we
first time ever. I
we
think.
had it. We had an interesting clubhouse. A lot of different cast of characters. Eddie Murray would. I remember when he hit his 400th home run, he didn't want to speak to the press.
Yeah.
Eddie
Oh,
kept me going, and then Bobby was Bobby. I mean, I don't know if you remember. One time, he made an error in right field, and he put up E9 on the whole scoreboard, and he called
Oh yeah.
and he called the press box. Why did he do that to me? And one of the writers was standing back of me, and I said, well, no, he wasn't complaining about the E9. He knew I had a virus. He wanted to know how I felt. So so every Bobby. I mean, this place was interesting times. A lot of interesting guys, and it was a fun time. Since last time, tell me if anybody wants to help. One last time, how do they do it?
sure. www.sabeswings.org. You can go through that. There's a donor box link on there to pledge to 1985 or to donate more. If you want to have your company do a match, all of the information is on that. For our patients, look for the application link, fill out the application, and you'll have a call back within about 48 hours.
You're doing great work, Brendan. I was real honor for me to be your friends all these years. We always stay in touch, and it's good seeing you, Candace, too.
Well,
Good to
we
see you, Jay.
appreciate every time that we reach out to you, Jay. You come through with auction items, with different ideas, and so we can't thank you enough, and the New York Mets, because uh, again, it wasn't my best playing days, but I feel like I'm a part of the Mets family for
No
life.
question,
And
100%, Brendan.
you guys are amazing on what you do to help us out, because it takes a village, and you're part of this village with
Well,
SabeSwings. So
I
thank you
appreciate
for
it.
having us on, Jay.
Yeah.
You've been amazing over the years. You're an icon with the New York Mets. I've
First, my
always
46th year here with the Mets. 46 years. I'm
it's
freaking
longer than
old.
I've been alive. Oh no,
That's
that's
that's it. 40. I started when I was 8, Brett. Just so you know,
yes,
I
yeah,
was a mere pup. But
yes.
Candace, all the best to you. Keep getting better,
Thank you.
and call me anytime I can help, Brett. You know that.
We sure
All
will.
right. Thanks for the
Thank you.
time, Candace. Be
Take
well,
care.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye.